This is a subject that has really been heavy on both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. We learned a lot, or we're learning a lot. We're in the tear down the walls to build up the fort, to build up the house, to build up the castle.
Welcome back to the Harley and Malarkey Podcast. Old dog, new tricks. Sorry that we weren't here last week. I hope you missed us.
We took a week off.
Yeah, we did.
Not to say I didn't miss us because I was with us,
Yeah.
but I guess I missed us.
Yeah.
Before we get into our conversation,
Yeah.
I think we started a little new thing.
Yeah. What was the best thing that you ate this week?
Well, we went to Santa Barbara last week. What was the best thing we ate last week? Did a road trip, went to a lot of different places, went to a good couple bakeries, a really great coffee.
I mean, we ate at Clark's and we ate at the Miramar for dinner. And
Clark's,
we had Indian
Miramar.
food.
Indian food? Where do we eat Indian food?
When we ordered Uber Eats.
Oh, we had Uber Eats.
I mean, probably the best thing we ate was at Clark's, but there wasn't really one dish that stood out. Probably the best dish was, Clark's was all around a great meal, but it was raining. And we walked into La Paloma Cafe, which used to be another cafe that Brian went to way back when he went to Santa Barbara.
Way back in the olden days.
And we got a tortilla soup on a rainy day.
Oh, that
And it was
good.
spicy and it was warm. So that was probably my favorite meal.
What else did we eat there? There was something else that was really good.
Oh, their chili smash burger.
Oh, that was mine.
Oh.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be Cafe Paradiso back in the olden days. I had some friends that worked there. One street off of State Street in Santa Barbara. You know, we could actually throw in, we did wait longer for a reservation, longer than I ever have in my entire life yesterday. My daughter said, I want Din Tai Fung, right? And my son Miles refers to it as DTF. DTF. You went to DTF?
Yeah.
So if somebody says DTF, it's Din Tai Fung.
Well, it depends on the context.
Is there another thing for DTF?
You don't know what that stands for?
Oh, down to fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, well, we kind of got fucked at old Din Tai Fung, and we waited 3 hours. They don't take reservations, or I don't know, we are on the list. We had to spend 3 hours at the mall. That is exhausting.
It was exhausting, but Sailor was committed, and
I love the commitment.
yeah, so we're like, fuck, I guess we're in it.
Now, Din Tai Fung is really good, really good. It's just very, I would say, vanilla interpretation of the Asian dumpling food.
Yeah.
Nothing like the spicy wasn't spicy.
Yeah, it caters to all.
The chocolate dumpling thing was like, whatever. Sorry, Sailor. It wasn't that good.
It was pretty good.
Not
good enough to make it on the menu at Anime, though, which was her hope.
Yes. So Din Tai Fung, 3 hour wait. I don't think I would wait at the greatest restaurant in the world for 3 hours. And we did.
Well, what you do is you can either make yourself a reservation a few days to a week in advance, or when you're within 3 miles of Din Tai Fung, you can add yourself to the wait list. Yesterday happened to be President's Day, so we spent the whole 3 hours at the mall. But you could conceivably, if you were closer, or you could go 3 miles within the radius, put your order in, and do something that you really enjoyed for 3 hours.
But back to, it did not make, for 3 hours, it did not make our list of our top food for the week.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to that Paloma Cafe, that slider cheeseburger thing.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was like the simplest thing in the world. It was like the softest little bun, and it had like some roasted poblano peppers on it, I think.
Yeah.
And it had this
Cheeseburger.
aioli. Oh, and typically we're kind of bitches and we don't eat a lot of gluten. We ate that bun.
Yeah.
We ate that bun and we loved every minute of it.
It's a great little cafe. Definitely recommend for a casual lunch in Santa Barbara.
Owned by the same people that own like Lark and what's the...
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's what they told us.
Lokita?
Lokita. I don't know. That's what they told us.
Yeah.
I'm just going with what they said. Everything that people tell me is true. So this week brings us with a little less comedy, but maybe it is funny. This is a subject that has really been heavy on both of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we learned a lot, or we're learning a lot. We're in the tear down the walls to build up the fort, to build up the house, to build up the castle. And so I don't know if you guys know this, but men are from Mars and women are from Venus.
Yeah.
I never read the book, but what an amazing title. And We journeyed to Santa Barbara to do what kind of ceremony was it?
And it's called an immersion therapy, an immersion experience.
Immersion experience. And there's something that's legal in therapy that's not typically legal on the streets. And we did that.
Yeah.
And wow, it really just opened up our portal, our personal soul portal, and really allowed us vulnerability, truth, understanding. You speak more elegantly of these things.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was an opportunity. I feel like going into it, our relationship, it's always felt strong, but like we have felt really solid. So I was like, this woman that I've worked with before on like a lot of inner child work and stuff, she happened to reach out to me and she's like, I just kind of had this feeling that this would be a good thing for you. And so we go into it not really thinking that we're going to have that much to talk about. We think that we communicate really well and there's not really any underlying like major issues that we have, which I would say we still went into it with that, but it was this experience where we got to connect and, Brian's like, hey, I'm actually a little afraid, like, what happens if this? And I was like, oh, I'm so glad that you said that you had fear around that. I kind of have fear around that too. And it was just a way to kind of talk about things in our lives and our future without defensiveness. And I think that, sometimes when we have difficult conversations, like either one of us can go into defensive mode. And then you don't really get to the heart of a matter when you're kind of defending against your own fears and vulnerabilities. You don't really hear the person next to you. And I think what this experience allowed is like all of our defenses were down and we really got to hear each other. And I think it made us feel very connected and very strong and very happy. And we're like, wow, we were scared going into it. We're like, what did we get ourselves into?
Well, let's be more honest here. I mean, like we were scared. We were going into a P. Diddy party. I mean,
I was not scared.
I thought there was baby oil involved, and this is another couple, a therapy couple, and they invited us to their really cool house up in the hills, and it's raining. It's Santa Barbara, and we're about to go into an immersion.
Yeah.
An immersion. And it's through something that is only legal in therapy. And so we're going to get immersed like up to our eyeballs in this. And I was like, what is going on? But then once we got there, I felt very comfortable and I realized it wasn't a freak party. I mean, I was freaking out a little bit, but it wasn't a freak off party.
Yeah. And I think once we were there, we were like, okay, this feels safe. This feels good.
And so there we were, and we were sharing and talking and loving and just more in love than ever and just having the best time. And it was spectacular. It was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Right? Well, then we enjoyed, went to dinner, had this, Valentine's Day, Santa Barbara.
Yeah, we were having such a good time. We stayed an extra night in Santa Barbara.
Extra day out there. But then our souls were exposed. Right? And so this is back to men are from Mars, women are from Venus, right? So I'm sure if you're in a relationship with a woman, that there's always this moment where the woman has an issue, a trigger, something comes up, right? And she starts explaining it to you. And us men, specifically us old dogs, I can only speak for myself and my generational people, is that I, look at these fancy words I'm learning. Yeah. I try to solve the problem. I'm like, whoa, what about this, and this, and this? Because that is in my nature. I am trying to solve and comfort and check it off the box and move forward. Right?
Yes.
I don't like the mud. Or I like the sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, go.
Sorry to cut you off, but I think you do try to solve the problem at first. And then if the problem isn't solving, you go into panic and defensive mode.
Well, I was going to get there.
Okay, sorry, go ahead. I'll let
you. So then, and this has happened, we are very, very fortunate. We love each other. We're on the same page. We are building a house together. We like the same paint colors. We like the same furniture. I mean, like these are luxuries in life, right? And everything comes very easy to us in our relationship of love, right? We get along. We're just a fantastic couple. And storybook, until you realize that a couple of these pages in this storybook are like my old Playboy magazines when I was a teenager. They're stuck together. You know what I'm saying? They are stuck together. And not for the same reason by any means. Harley did buy a new Playboy, old Playboy with Cindy Crawford in the centerfold.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. That was one of our little gifts we got in Santa Barbara at a very cool vintage store.
I collect vintage Playboys. I mean, I only have like 7 of them, but maybe 4.
We're going to frame them, put them up on the wall for the kids. So in our relationship, we have a couple pages stuck together. Mm-hmm. And it is when these things come up. And Danielle will say, blah, blah, blah. I don't like this, or get sad and tears and this. I try to solve. She says, essentially, and the therapy, we discussed this also, is that I just need space. I don't need you to solve it. I just need you to be in the space with me. Allow me this emotion. I mean, I know, guys, this is fucking crazy. Like, what is this space? I'm not familiar with it. I'm like, check, move, fix, go on. But women, guys, this might be the keys to the fucking castle.
Yeah,
all right?
It might be.
And so anyway, a few days ago, one of these instances come up after our vulnerability in our session. And she said, this subject, it doesn't even matter what the subjects are. It's just like, she starts crying. I'm like, oh my God. And they told me in therapy that, hey, you know what solves all the problems? A hug. I mean, I'm fucking like, I can do a hug. That's in my repertoire. I walk over there and I hug her. And I was like, I'm so sorry I upset you or this triggered you. Blah, blah, blah. I got you. Check. Look at that. I gave her space. I fucking hugged her. I heard her. And I was done. I was having a great fucking day. Everything was amazing. And a little while later, I walked into the closet. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And guess what? You can take it from there.
I said, hey, I still kind of have some stuff that I would like to get off my chest. Like, I haven't finished explaining why I feel the way that I feel. And he's like, okay, I'm ready to listen to you. And I'm like, okay, well, this is why what you said, made me scared. And I'm a little nervous about this. And then instead of giving me the space to just kind of work through.
Guys, this is the space. This is the space. And my trigger is to solve space, close space, move on.
In like a matter of 1 minute. Like, he has about 1 minute of space he can provide. And typically, unless it's a very, very small issue, like you threw out my good almond milk, you need more than 1 minute of space to process it. If it's just you threw out my almond milk, I can get over it. And 1 minute of space is enough. And so I start trying to explain, why this was triggering to me, what I'm scared of. And then immediately he's on the defensive because he's like, well, I tried part 1 and part 2 and they didn't work. And now I want to tell you all the reasons that you are wrong for feeling that way. And
the key word was, you're ruining my day.
Yeah.
Oh,
I get
Hey, guys, don't fucking ever say that. Don't. Let me just tell you, that's not what you want. I'm on a high. You're ruining my day. I'm having such a great fucking day. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's a favorite of Brian's too. Like, anytime I have an emotion, like if after the 30 seconds of his space are done processing and I still have feelings, the immediate response is like, I was having a great day and now you've ruined my entire day. Not even just like ruin the next couple hours, like you've ruined my entire day. And when he said that, I was like, okay, great. I'm like, now you fucking made this all about you. And because I'm like, we talked about in this session, I need a little bit of space when I get upset. I'm trying to get my space. I get about 1 minute of space until you make it all about you and how my fears buck you up. And I'm like, where the fuck is my space? Now I have to comfort you. Now I have to apologize to you. Like, this doesn't make any sense. And like, it's something that's happened multiple times. And so I think I've thought that I've like let it go in the past when it's happened, but I think it all kind of came crashing back. And I was like, this isn't fair. This isn't fair. Why do I never get any space to have feelings? Why are you the only one that gets space to have feelings?
And then Then what happens when like hot molten lava is compressed into earth, into a mountain for hundreds of thousands of years? One day that lava fucking bubbles up. It bubbles up. And Danielle has never yelled at me or
I still didn't yell.
our therapist disagrees that even if you think your tone was normal, your energy was intense. And it was intense. And then we get into this, you guys. Okay. Raised as a cowboy who was told not to cry. Little boys do not cry. Oh, I'm not crying. I'm not crying yet. Okay. Stay tuned. Okay. So she comes at it and she's like, I'm so tired of you fucking taking the space. I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of you not giving my thing. I'm so tired of you making it all about you, right? I never get my time. When you're having a bad day, I let you have your space. I don't get absorbed into it, but you just crash the whole fucking world, right? I'm just like, "Argh!" And there it is. I'm fucking like, I'm white knuckling it and I'm sitting on the chair in the closet and I'm just like, fuck, I can't move. I can't fucking breathe. I'm just like, she's really mad at me. I fucked it all up, but now I'm being taken over.
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah, I'm done. She leaves. I barely crawl into bed. This is the middle of the day. I'm not much of a napper. And I crawl into bed. I can't fucking move. I'm paralyzed in exhaustion, fear, anger, sadness. You throw any fucking emotion in there. I had them all going on. And unlike the Danielle that I'm in love with, she did not come and comfort me. There was no comforting. There was just like, all right, fuck off. And I crashed and then got up. I don't recall what else happened, but I do recall that you went into the room not long after I left the room, and then you crashed. It was an emotional,
It was
fucking
very emotionally
intense.
draining. And I think I was just tired of comforting you. I was like, it was my breaking point where I'm like, no, this doesn't get to be about you. This was supposed to be about me. Like, Brian had a rough week last week and he snapped at me multiple times. He got stressed out about things that were completely unrelated to me. And in all those moments, I stayed grounded and I let him have his experience. And then if he said something that was kind of mean or that hurt my feelings, I addressed it after he had his moment. I said, hey, I don't like it when you talk to me like that. And we moved on. And then, this week I wanted to just like get a little bit off my chest. And I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. I'm not going to go in there and comfort you. I'm not going to make you feel better. I was trying to have you make me feel better. And now you made me feel 50 million times worse. Like I don't want to be near you right now. I can tell that it's like not Brian. Like that's the thing. It's like, it's Brian, who I know and love, has like left the building and it's this other version of him that comes in. And now I kind of know this version of him well. And I'm very into internal family systems. I don't know if you've heard about it. If you haven't, I think it's something that's worth looking into. My favorite internal family systems book is You Are the One You've Been Waiting For. And I think it's by the founder of IFS, which is Dick Schwartz. He's been on a bunch of podcasts and stuff. You can listen to him. But essentially, it is that we are all made up of multiple personalities. And that's not a flaw. Like, that is how we are. And there are all these different parts of us inside of us, and they all serve a purpose. And we have, our inner child parts, and like their purpose is play and joy and excitement. And then we have protector parts, and those protector parts are there to keep us safe. But when there's wounded parts of you in there, these protector parts grow really big and they get bigger than their role should be. And they'll kind of burn down anything to keep this like vulnerable part of you locked away, because that vulnerable part of you getting out is way too scary. It's kind of complex to explain the whole thing, but how I see this is like, this is Brian's protector that gets really activated, because something that I've said, even though my intention isn't that, is triggering this very vulnerable part of him. So when I say, hey, I need space, you're not listening, or like, I'm afraid of X, Y, and Z, instead of him hearing what I'm actually saying, it triggers something inside of him, and he doesn't hear that. He hears, you're not enough. You don't do enough for me. You're not making me happy. And that protector part of him swoops in so that that vulnerable part of him doesn't get hurt. or is protected.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Guys, if you made it this far, I am so fucking proud of you. Right? So I'm completely confused by all of this also. All I know is that when it's essentially, I feel I've let her down, right? And I'm a people pleaser. I'm in the hospitality business. My whole life is about taking care of people, making sure they're happy, making sure they're having their best time, setting aside my own personal dilemmas to make sure my children are taken care of and they're experiencing the best life. And all I want for Danielle is, because she brings me such joy to my life, is to make sure she's happy. And when I see that she's upset, and essentially it's by something I've done, I fucking crash. And all I hear is, you fucked up, Brian, you fucked up. And I'm just like, oh, and it crashes me. So typically it takes me about 8-10 hours to get out of the zone. This is a fucking overnighter. All right. Not only do I tell her, I'm trying to speak her language, right? I'm like, that night after this thing, I'm like, I think you need to apologize to little Brian. Right? And I'm like, I think you need to apologize to little Brian. And she goes, for what? And I was like, oh, bitch.
No, I said, I'm not saying I didn't do anything wrong. I just want to make sure I know what I'm apologizing for.
Yeah. Thanks. Right. So she's such a caregiver also. I was like, whoa, man, this is just playing hardball now. And essentially what I blame her for in all of this is not for her emotions, but for her timing and delivery. Right. And we talked about this because we had a 911 emergency meeting with the therapist again yesterday to help resolve this, because this was not an 8-hour, this was an overnighter. So I had said, apologize to little Brian. Little Brian. I already know who little Brian is, right? I'm just like, I heard her say that I have little Brian, we're protecting him. And so I was like, next morning, man, I was up all night and just clenched, like jaw clenched in this. And I was like, fuck that. Apologize to big Brian, right? I woke up the next morning. That's the first thing I said.
At fucking 6:30 a.m. We went to bed. We like cuddled on the couch. He acted like
my heart wasn't in it.
He acted like he understood where I was coming from. He's like, yeah, I get it. Thanks for explaining that to me. I'm fucking exhausted from the day we had. I kiss him goodnight. I tell him I love him. I sleep well, except I did have this bad dream that Brian left me for his mistress, and really
who is it?
Nobody worthwhile.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to
and really regretted that decision. So maybe I was feeling his like churning mind next to me. I thought we were fine, and then at 6:30 in the morning, I'm like, I have my hand on him like I always do in the morning, like half cuddling with him, and he turns around to me. He's like, I'm still not over this. He's like, I think Big Brian needs an apology. I was like, Jesus Christ, could you have given me?
And it was on. It was fucking
up?
on. It was on. Because I was just clenched all fucking night long. I couldn't sleep, and I was just like, and so I understood you getting mad at me for not giving you the space, right? And I was like, I'm a hard-headed, old dog, and I need somebody to like shake me and get aggressive with me sometimes for a point to be heard.
Yeah.
So I understood that, but I still just had this fucking animosity of your timing and your delivery. And I was just like, why? And she said, Brian, I always have to control the timing. I always have to control that, because I never know when you're going to fucking go into
spin out
mode. And so it was on. We knew we couldn't get out of this trap by ourselves, right? We were in the mouse trap, and we were running down all the wrong aisles and getting hit by doors and stuff like that. So we did the 911 meeting. We went for a walk. I think you said this is one of the greatest walks of your life.
That's one of the worst walks. It was fine. It was good to be out and getting fresh air. But we just weren't getting anywhere.
This is the day after.
Yeah.
And so we had read or heard that if you're in a conflict, it's good to go for a walk, because you can talk and you're not face to face. It's not that intense. You kind of have the distractions of the fresh air, the scenery, and you can communicate without that direct energy eye to eye. Well, it didn't really work.
No, I would walk, and then he would just stand and not walk with me and stare off into the distance. And then our dog has had a bad habit of attacking Doodles recently. And so now I'm kind of scared anytime a dog comes near her.
So the dog loves all dogs. except she fucking hates doodles because you know why? They're just too fucking.
They're shit-eating grins.
My father would say they're shit-eating grins. Scout's fucking kind of a realist, you know? Like, she knows we got highs and lows. It's not just all fucking cotton candy and unicorns. And those doodles only see that, right? They're like, hey, what's up? What's up? And Scout's like, fuck you. And so, so Harley now is scared of every dog. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like going, this is a fucking metaphor. You're worried about the things that might happen and not dealing with things as they come. So now every time a dog comes up, Harley's like, oh, Scout. And I'm just like, yeah, because you're fucking scared of, she loves the pit bull. She loves the stray from Mexico. She loves these dogs. I'm not worried about these dogs. Just look out for the doodles. And so I thought, I was so angry. I was like, oh, it's a metaphor on life.
Yeah.
Is you just fear stuff that will never, ever happen.
I was like, I'm just trying to make sure. I was just like, I'm so tired. I just can't deal with your dog attacking another dog right now. And he's like, well, I can't deal with you worrying about shit that's never happened. I was like,
well, see? And
oh,
I do stand by that. Is that
I think the thing is like, I take ownership. I'm like, yeah, my timing was bad. Yeah, but like, you were fucking listening to me. That's why I had to stay firm. Or yeah, I do worry about a lot of things that never come true. And you know, I've worked really hard on that. I worry way less than I used to. Like, it's something I've been dealing with since I was in first grade. I had to go to therapy because I was so worried that my dog was going to run away. And I'm not like that anymore. Like, I worry about a few things here and there, but I've spent my life working on myself. And so I'm like, yeah, I do have work to do there still. And I'm still working on it. Like, and that's when I get frustrated too, because I'm like, when it comes to these conflicts, like, you play a part in this. Like, you disappearing for 8 hours is not my fault. And that's how he, I think until yesterday, framed it as like, no, you do this to me. And I'm like, yes, my
fucking fault.
My timing is bad, or, you know, my emotions are more than you can handle. But
ruin my day.
Your reaction and your ability to enjoy a day is all on you. Like, it's not me that's taking you offline for 8 hours. Like, that's something going on within you. And I really just want you to take like some responsibility for that, instead of like, it's all my fault anytime we get into a fault. It's 100% me, because then I'm left being like, hey, this thing that I, like, for example, yesterday, the thing that I was scared about, to be honest, right now I'm more scared about it than I was before I asked, because
Doodles? You're more scared of doodles now than ever?
No, because it's like, not only is he not able to comfort me, but then it's like he says all these things in defense about like why my feelings are wrong, why my timing is wrong, and all these things. And it's like, okay, well, now not only did I not get my comfort, but now I've been given more reasons to worry about the thing that I asked for in the first place. And he thinks this is all my fault. And so if I want this conflict to end, I have to apologize. That's why I was getting so frustrated.
I went so far as to say, hey, I think you have, I can't even remember how I framed it. I was like going, you know what? It appears every time I'm having a really fucking good day, you're like, you try to break me down. You try to break me down. You're trying to control my emotions by breaking me down so that I'm not bubbly happy all the time. Remember that one?
Yeah, he's used that one multiple times. And I'm like, you think that this is how I want my day to go? I'm like, it's the last fucking thing I want in my day to go. But I am a very headstrong person also. And it's hard for me to just back down. And so I think when it's like when I know backing down might like diffuse the situation, I'm like, I'm not going to back down, because it's unfair that this is all getting blamed on me.
Two bullheaded people.
Yeah.
They discharge and hit horns. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thus, we get our 911 meeting with the therapist, and they're like, geez, sometimes after these things, you know, you're really vulnerable and exposed, and these things happen. So we plead our cases, we point our fingers, we do our things. We're like, this is what I'm feeling. This is what happened. This is what's going on. Recap. Me wanting to jump off the cliff that we just walked the dog near. And then something happened. Okay.
Yeah.
So we go into my favorite thing, one of my favorite things that came out of this was, Brian, where are you? I'm clenched. I'm like jaw clenched. I'm like almost. I'm not fucking losing this. It's her bad timing and her delivery. She should have fucking waited until a better time, which she agrees upon, right?
Yeah,
A little bit.
yeah.
And just like said, hey, these things are coming up in my emotions. Just all that perfect, communication skills.
Well, I'll give you the tip. This is what she said. And I will say, I am so willing to take responsibility for my part. I'm just begging you, like, somehow, please get Brian to take responsibility for his part. Like, this can't be 100% my fault. And so
it's closer to like 99.
So my part was, potentially we're going to find one time a week where we do a check-in where we talk through the things that might have upset us that week. Or, I'm just going to say, hey, is now a good time?
Yeah. This is good, because if you do have a check-in time, she said, you'll only do this for a little while. This is just
a few months.
A few months. And because I was like, fuck this, as any good man should do. But then you're kind of going, oh shit, I might get dumped on here in the next 30 minutes. Like, I might have some shit that I've done, but now I'm a little bit more emotionally prepared to not trigger and go, okay, let's try that quiet time and give you your space, and we'll do the hug. I might have time to go to the mirror and do a little practice hug to make sure my hugs are working. And then I'll get some duct tape and I'll put it over my mouth so I know when to be quiet. So you kind of go into it prepared for it instead of just like sweeping you off your feet.
Yes. And so he'll be more emotionally prepared when I have this emotional thing. And then we also learned, like, Brian doesn't necessarily hear what I'm saying. His kind of nervous system takes over and he hears that he's not good enough. And I'm like, never once in any of my conflicts have I thought to myself or felt to myself, he's not enough for me. He doesn't do enough for me. He's not worthy of me. But somehow that's the undertone of everything that I say. And so she was like, it can be nice to frame, hey, I think you're an amazing partner. Like, you do so much for me. I'm so grateful for this love that we have. And I'm feeling a little bit, scared in this area, or I need a little additional support in this area, and framing it up so that he doesn't take what I'm saying to mean a statement about him overall or a statement about the relationship overall. And I was like, perfect. Those are easy takeaways for me. I will work on those.
I mean, sometimes after these things, I'm like, the next morning, I'm like, do you still love me? And she's like, you don't fucking have to ask me that.
Yeah.
Like, my love for you is so strong. You don't have to ask me that. But that's how much I beat myself up.
Yeah.
So my chest is tight, my stomach's tight, my shoulders are tight, my jaw's clenched. I'm like, yeah, let's fucking do this. Let's do this therapy thing. I'm ready, And they immediately recognize this me and they go, oh, Brian, where are you tight? Where are you tense? Where's it at? And I was like, oh, here. All right, so close your eyes and fucking make it as tense as you possibly can. And this is something I'd love for you all to try. I was like, oh yeah, I'll fucking do that. I just get down and I close my eyes and I just like clench up. And do you know what your body does when you just purposely clench it up and just try to be as tense as possible? It immediately relaxes. I was like, what the fuck happened? No, I want my shield, my armor, my this. And I was like, what? She goes, what happened? I go, it all released. She goes, nice. Then we talk. And then she goes, can I take you through a thing, we'll call it.
Yeah, she's like, I can feel all your big emotions right now. Can we kind of dive into those, Brian? Can we kind of do a little exercise?
So once again, I've completely stolen the show. We're not worried about little Danielle and Danielle's emotions anymore. They're like, okay, let's get into this. So
I'm like, thank fucking God.
But they did say timing, and that was good. That's all I needed to hear was like, do take responsibility for some timing.
I said, sure, I got it.
Timing.
I got it.
Timing.
I will take full responsibility.
But yes, let's go to the big problem, which is me getting hijacked for 8 hours to 24 hours like this last one. And I'm just like, close your eyes, blah, 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 talk slow. Here we go. Okay. I am not a crier. My daughter even jokingly said I've only cried twice in her life that she can remember. And one was at the Kobe Bryant Laker Memorial, the first game after he passed away. And I have to be full disclosure, I fucking hate the Lakers. I hate the Lakers, but this is Kobe Bryant and it was sad and it was an emotional and it was like, wow. And another one was during COVID when my restaurants closed. Could imagine that's so scary. And I don't remember crying because I was raised as little boys don't cry because I was raised by the Cowboys and my mom's tough as fucking nails also. And so funny, Harley tells a story. It's like, I cried in front of her once and she walked out the room. She's like, not on my watch, girl. So that's the house I was raised in. And so I'm not going to get too deep into the situations of my childhood, but I was raised by a single mom who dated different people, and it was kind of always a precedence of whoever she was dating was how the house was run. But it was my brother and I were like, this is our fucking house. This is our ranch. We were raised on a 100-acre ranch.
And this is our mom.
And this is our mom. So how about you fucking not tell us the rules there? And this is at like 4, 5, 6 years old. I mean, we're like, and we were feeding the horses and helping out and doing this. But we went and talked to little Brian. I know this sounds corny, gentlemen, and if you're still listening, you are a better person than I am. But we went in to me, and we went into my old house, and we saw me having all of this responsibility and fear and all of this stuff. And what it really came down to, and I'm going to do this without crying, I fucking was sobbing. Absolutely sobbing. Just like I saw little me, I saw his anger, his fear, his like, who the fuck is this? And my only goal in life was to make sure my mom was safe, taken care of, and that she was happy. And the reflection that I got from that was that that's what I want to do for Danielle. And what I feel and see is that I violated that and I've caused her pain. And that anger is me attacking myself and going, you're a piece of shit. You're fucking not worthy. You don't deserve this. And in my head, the fucking protector burns the house down. I'm like, break up, sell the house, fucking live in a teepee in the middle of nowhere. Like, I mean, I go fucking deep. And I don't have a middle ground. I'm very extremist. And so that one, just crying, which I apologize, gentlemen out there, I cried, just made me feel like 30 pounds lighter. Like, oh my God. And to have seen myself and then to see my brother in that really intense youthful situation. My father was very little involved when I was a kid and stuff like that, but really taking on these adult-like fucking responsibilities and these in-depth emotions and not being a child really gave me my glimpse, unfortunately, into all the fucking shit I have to look at in my life if I want to be a better person now. And it's so time traveling to have to look back at yourself in these predicaments. I was going to use a big fancy word, but I don't know many of them. But to look at myself in these situations and go, God, am I still carrying those feelings in my current adult life? And how do I maybe not unprogram, but soothe myself so they don't fuck up my today?
Yeah.
That's a lot, guys. This is intense. It was so intense. And we got through that. I'm still mending. Like I burned myself up inside. I'm like, she's like, how are you doing now? I'm like, I'm raggedy. I'm just trying to put the pieces back together and see what I saw. I mean, to go time travel and talk to a younger part of yourself and try to soothe them. It was beyond anything I've ever done. And then we had to go fucking wait for Din Tai Fung for 3 fucking hours. Can you imagine the exhaustion and the fucking frustration?
Yeah. I mean, it was a very touching and heartbreaking and beautiful thing to be a part of. And I feel like if you've never done any of this work or touched any younger part of yourself, it probably sounds like made up and unreal, but we all have these younger versions of us living inside of us. And like when they're wounded, they get trapped in their childhood role and they're not free to like be a little boy playing. And it sounds very out there until you start like doing the work, but it's like his little boy just wants to go ride his pony and be free and not worry that somebody's going to hurt his mom or take over their house. And he never fully got a chance to be a little boy. Like he had to be the man of the house from the time he was a young age. And like when you're that young and you feel like your mom's happiness is reliant on your ability to be the man of the house. Like you don't get to be a kid, and it feels like your mom's happiness at that age feels like life or death, because like that's the only parent you have, and if she's not happy, like you don't, it's there's this feeling that like you won't survive. If your mom isn't happy, you won't survive, and her happiness equals life or death to you. And I understand that this can be a lot to like wrap your head around, but I think it just gave such insight into like there's still that part of him that like feels like it's life or death if he makes somebody around him unhappy. Makes being the thing, like where I was like, you didn't make me anything. Like I'm just trying to express something that got triggered within me, that's triggering old parts of me, and I just want you to be here and listen. It's not about you. But I think that when we don't kind of make peace with those parts of ourselves or welcome those parts of ourselves into our life today, then they can run the show and they can kind of take over unknowingly. And we live these lives where we're kind of like slaves to the past instead of being able to be, present and creating our present and our future.
And when I was doing this and just sobbing and talking, little me was fucking still pissed at me. I mean, pissed. Like, why the fuck did you leave me? And I was like, yo, bro, I'm like in the future. You're talking to the future. I can't save you, but I actually can, which is crazy. I can go back and mend fences, which is so wild. It's a ranch terminology there.
We weren't on drugs for...
No, this was not. This was completely the time before we were. But to go back there and be able to communicate with that person, go, hey man, I'm from the future. I'm here to tell you we're gonna be okay. It's you were put in a bad situation, but hey, let's release you now. Let's let you go ride your pony. Pony's name was Peanuts. And go be a kid. And, you're not going to ever really, I don't know, it's so crazy, but you actually can release some of that and say, I'm going to take responsibility for this now. Let me handle today. And I saw humanity's crisis, that we all have this baggage. We all, even if you're raised in the most beautiful, healthy family, somebody left you for too long one time. Somebody yelled in your direction and you thought it was at you. You have a little something going on there, right? And we all have these issues to be able to go back and look at. And I used to have the greatest coping mechanism, which was alcohol. I was like, fuck, I'll just keep drinking. I never have to think about these things. Anytime I start feeling a little bubbling up inside, I was like, I'll have some drinks. I'll feel just fine. And unfortunately, most people have, addictions, be it work, sex, drugs, rock and roll, whatever it is, you suppress and you just layer these things over. And the thing that Danielle said to me that really resonated was, these are not your problems. You didn't upset me, but these chains that you wear when these things happen, I want to take these chains off of you. You need to be released from this guilt and this heaviness that you have. I want you to have a future where you are not chained to your past. Holy fuck, I'm getting smart.
Yeah, you are getting smart.
Holy shit. And so I'm up here fighting it sober, and you have to. You have to. And people who've asked about sobriety and stuff like that, I'm like, fuck, dude, it's amazing because there's this high when you're like, oh, wow, I got all these things. I'm healthy. I can get up in the morning and feel great. Well, fuck, dude, digging through the dirt pile or the shit pile, sober is a whole nother fucking thing. And that is a warrior. That is a strong fucking warrior that has to go through and look through that shit. Because my brother, who was standing right by my side, right next to me during all of this and protecting me, so his burden was even greater, right? He has his coping mechanisms, and, we all have different ways, but I have decided, and if you are listening to this and you care, I fucking want the chains gone. I want the chains gone. I want to walk lighter in life. I want to pass on the ability to fix and grow and evolve to my children. and to anybody else who might be listening, and that's you. So I hope this has provided something for you. And what is the most daunting thing here is, fuck, dude, I just scratched the surface.
Yeah, this is very raw and fresh for us. And I think I'm very proud of you for sharing all that. And I think that it will help other men like that feel.
Oh, is that the way it is? You won't blame it on the fucking men? See?
No, but
see, I got your back, guys. I got your back.
No, there's just such this that we
manly
have
man thing.
Yeah, and I'm just very proud of you. And I don't know, this is a small aside, but I did Reiki with my Reiki woman last week, Megan, who I just adore. And she pulled me this card and it was like the vulture. And it was basically like something's tough is going to happen, but what appears to be a tragedy is actually going to be the greatest blessing in disguise. And I kept reading that card over and over yesterday as I was like, is this going to work out? Are we going to be okay? And I think that that's something to remember is like sometimes the hardest, most uncomfortable moments of your life are an opportunity to step into a new future. They're an opportunity to ask like, why am I stuck in this pattern? Why am I stuck in this darkness? Can I make a new decision? Can I get help? Can I see things differently? And it affects everybody around you. It's like this breakthrough moment, like, is saving our relationship, and it's just the beginning. Like, he has to keep doing this work, and it's going to help his relationship with his brother. I think there's sometimes judgment of like, I'm handling this better than he does, or he's handling this better than me. But when you touch your own pain, you start to develop compassion for people around you. And that's just such a gift, to go through the world and to see people with loving eyes rather than judging eyes. And so I'm grateful to be on this journey with you.
I think that was almost a mic drop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put a period on the end of that sentence.
Follow us on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube. Leave us a rating and review. We love it. Send us any questions.
Yeah, I dare you to.